Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, psychology today will pop up. Click on that, and it will have qualified therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. Hello, Massachusetts. So, okay. So I just wanted to make a couple of announcements. So basically I am done touring for the year. So Portland has been canceled. There should be a refund on the way to the person that signed up for that. Hello, Utah. So there is that. I'm not sure when I'm going to resume touring. So I'll let you know as things develop. So right now they're calling Arizona Corona Zona. So no bueno. This is not good. This is bad. So anyway, that's it. So I am pretty much staying isolated until I know what the hell's going on, and or there's a cure, and or there's a vaccine. So that's it. All right. So, oh wow, Barcelona, Spain. Hi guys. Okay. So today's topic is dealing with siblings. So dealing with siblings who are disordered. Okay. In a healthy, normal family, is there sibling rivalry? Well, yes, it's that little bit of sibling rivalry is natural. It is. Because, when a new baby comes along, of course, the older child is going to be like, but what about me? So there's a little bit of jealousy. But healthy parents nip that in the bud very quickly, and they get it handled, and they let the kids know, no, this is not okay. You cannot pick on this child. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. The problem of it is that there could possibly be two things going on. One is a dysfunctional family, completely dysfunctional, that encourages sibling rivalry. So in that scenario, it's a disordered parent or two, or disordered caregiver or two. And what they do is they love divide and conquer. So what they do is they encourage the children to fight each other, like literally, in some of the worst abuse cases, you've seen these clips where the parents are literally putting boxing gloves on the kids and encouraging them to beat the living crap out of each other. That is just a physical manifestation of what they are also doing emotionally. So in disordered families, what they do is they literally divide and conquer. So they set the kids up against each other. So in disordered families, there's the golden child, there's the scapegoat, there's the ignored middle child, there's, whatever box they needed to put the kids in. And then they will set them against each other intentionally. So in those families, is the golden child always a bad kid, that the narcissist is just, giving all their attention to? No, not always. Not always. In some cases, yeah, the kid is also a narcissist, and we're going to get into that. So, but they do that on purpose, so that there's no cohesiveness amongst the siblings, so that the siblings cannot unite, be on the same page, and call out the abuse for what it is. Because remember, when narcissists are discovered, they are dangerous, because now you know what they are, and they know that you know what they are, and oh my God, they're going to go after you. So the last thing a narcissistic parent wants is a cohesive group of siblings going, oh, mom or dad or both are batshit crazy. We need to band together and get through our childhood. That's the last thing they want, because they want to be able to manipulate and control. Now, that's one scenario. Scenario number two is the child is born without empathy. Nature, nurture. So remember, we've talked about that. I get that question all the time. Are narcissists born? Are psychopaths born? Is it nature? Is it nurture? It is both, but in some cases, it is very clearly nature. So in other words, the child is just absolutely no empathy, no kindness, no caring, no ability to put themselves to another's shoes, no ability to what's the word I'm looking for? Anthropomorphize. So you know how little kids, when they play with things and a toy gets broken and they've got a lot of empathy, they go, but it's hurting, it broke, it needs to be fit. You know, they anthropomorphize it. They give it human characteristics. So that shows empathy. That shows that that child is going, oh my gosh, what must that be like to have a broken arm or a broken leg or, you know, whatever. So they anthropomorphize. Ones who are not, that do not have empathy, cannot anthropomorphize. I really hope I'm saying that right. Y'all know what I mean, though. So they can't put themselves into that doll's shoes. They can't go, gosh, what must that be like? So they are literally born without that empathy cog. It's like it's like the lights are on, the engine is running, and ain't nobody sympathetic home or empathetic. So I pulled a whole bunch of really good articles. This is from Bridges to Recovery. .com, and it says the one-sided rivalry, the traumatic effects of narcissistic personality disorder on siblings. Matthew was 10 years old the first time he got a perfect report card. He stood in the school bathroom, clutching the thin card in his hands, staring at the line of neat A's, his heart full and warm. I tried to get all of my smiles out because I knew I wouldn't be able to do it at home. He took one last look at the proof of his success and shoved it down to the bottom of his backpack and began making a plan for how to share his secret with his parents while hiding it from his brother David. I was terrified of what would happen if David knew I had done so well. He couldn't handle anyone beating him at anything. So let's take a pause right here. Narcissists and psychopaths, but mostly narcissists, are all about competition, even when there is no competition going there. It's like the narcissist could be several years older in a completely different, what's the word I'm looking for? Different realm of interest or different academic thing. And yet, if a younger sibling gets straight A's and outdoes them, like they don't get straight A's, but the younger sibling does, they will torture and torment that younger sibling for their success. Okay. If he had known I'd done so well, he couldn't handle being beat at anything. Even if you weren't competing, he was always competing. I lived in fear of ever upstaging him. But even though Matthew did his best to avoid damaging his brother's fragile ego, so trying to protect him, trying to keep himself safe. So remember how we twist ourselves into pretzels if we have an abusive parent? Well, it's the same thing with abusive siblings. Trying to protect them, trying to keep them safe, trying to, not give them any narcissistic fuel for their fire. But the problem of it is if they are a true narcissist or a true psychopath, they don't have that empathy cog. So no matter what you do, seriously, I mean, how many times have you walked in to a room where there was a narcissistic family member and you said good morning, and one time it was fine, and the next time you walked into the room with a narcissistic family member and you said good morning, and suddenly it was like the temperature drops. You need an old priest and a young priest, seriously. And it just gets creepy. And they're like, what does that mean? And it's game on. They're just looking. They're just looking for a fight. It's head spinning, pea soup coming out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like bizarre. So, okay. Even though he tried to protect his brother's fragile ego, David targeted him relentlessly for the most trivial of reasons, or seemingly no reason at all, just like I said, pointing out his perceived imperfections and making sure his parents knew Matthew's every infraction. So they're tattletales. They run back to the parents and make shit up. That's the hard part of being in a family with a narcissistic sibling, because it may not be the parents that are doing it, but it's now the sibling that's doing it. And the problem of it is because we don't fucking talk about this topic, which we need to fucking talk about this topic, is that parents don't know how to cope with it. And they don't nip that shit in the bud as quickly as they should. That shit needs to be nipped in the goddamn bud. Yesterday. So, what do you do with a child that's got no empathy? Well, you get them into DBT therapy. That's the only known modality that works with personality disorders. Will that child change? Probably not a whole lot, but you're going to give them coping skills, and you're going to give them the absolute message that this behavior absolutely will not be tolerated. And parents don't do that. What they do is they tend to side with the abuser, especially if they have any abuse in their background, because they're trying to appease the abuser. Oh, well, but, he's got such a fragile ego, and, oh, well, now, excuse. Does this sound familiar to anybody? It really fucking should. How many times do we make excuses for abusers? So this happens. The parents make excuses for the abusers as opposed to, my kid has got something wrong with them. This is not normal. This needs to be fixed. So why? Well, ego, for one. How many parents are willing to put their fucking ego to the side and go, this child has got a problem and is harming my other child. I need to nip this in the bud. It's like, that's one issue. The other issue is that it's hard for people to wrap their heads around the idea that, yes, a child can be born without empathy, and they can be little Damiens, basically. Damien Omen, if you ever watched, I'm a child of the 70s. If you ever watched those movies, it was Damien Omen 3 or whatever. They can be born without empathy. They can have a personality disorder without the parents having done anything. And that's the fear of the parents, is they're like, oh my God, what did I do? Oh my God, it's me. Oh my God, I can't face this. Oh my God. And so instead of actually doing something about it, what do? They stick their head in the sand and go, la, 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 I'm not seeing it. La, 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 it's not there. La, I'm not listening. La, 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 and hoping that it's going to go away, or it's a phase, or that they're going to grow out of it. Let me just clue you into this. It's not a phase. They're never going to grow out of it. You need to do something. And I mean, like fucking yesterday. Boom. Shakalaka done. Okay. Making sure that Matthew's parents knew every infraction and becoming consumed with anger and jealousy if Matthew stepped ever so briefly into the spotlight. While his life became painstakingly a painful dance around the minefield of his brother, it wasn't until a university psychology course that Matthew would have a name for that behavior that shaped his childhood. I was sitting in a lecture hall looking at the slide that said narcissistic personality disorder, and suddenly the last 18 years made sense. So literally, I mean, it's like a light goes on and it's like, you finally get it. It's like, fuck, there's a name for this shit. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the trauma of living with somebody with a personality disorder, it creates PTSD. Abso-fucking-lutely. It doesn't just have to be from a parent or a lover. It can be from a sibling. So some of these, oh my God, I posted stuff today on Facebook about this jackass in California that was poisoning the homeless population and filming it. He was a sadist. He was enjoying it. He watched their reactions as they were being poisoned and choking for air and etc. So nature, nurture, I would have to say nature. It's like most people have got empathy. Some are simply born without. And those are the dangerous ones, because you can't really stop that. But if you get it young enough, you can let them know what is allowed and what is not allowed, what will be put up with and what will not be put up with. And the problem of it is that the parents don't enforce boundaries with the abuser. They kowtow to the abuser, and that is to the damage of all the other siblings who are not abusive. Okay. The narcissistic child's constant need to fuel the brittle sense of self and protect it from external assaults results in extreme distrust of others and rages when challenged or criticized. These children exhibit intense envy of others, devaluation, lack of empathy, and the ability to express gratitude or concern for another person. They're never grateful. It's never enough. It's never enough. They could be getting attention 24/7, and the second some other sibling steps in and gets a little bit of attention, that blows their world to hell and they start raging. Okay, they are exploitive, devaluing, and manipulative. All right. So siblings as narcissistic supply. So yeah, everything you're thinking right now, which I know you're thinking is, oh my God, my sibling uses me for narcissistic supply. You bet your sweet bippy they are. Hang on a second. So when a narcissist, when a sibling needs supply and is sadistic, what do? They go after their siblings. They turn on their siblings. They use them to jack up their need to feel powerful. And oftentimes what a narcissist does to feel powerful is to harm somebody, to torture them verbally or physically. So yeah, Yeah. And that's where parents have got to fucking step in and be like, oh, hell to the no, bitches. Do you see where I'm going with that? This just pisses me off. It pisses me off when somebody allows an abuser to abuse. I don't give a fuck how old they are. Seriously, I don't give a fuck how old that kid is. I don't give a fuck. I don't. I have no fucks to give. My field is barren of fucks. So that parent needs to fucking step in, fucking man the fuck up, and take the fuck care of their other kids and protect them from the child that is abusive. Period. Fucking id. Done. Jesus, this pisses me off. All right. So the narcissistic supply the narcissist actively solicits narcissistic supply: adulation, compliments, admiration, subservience, attention, and being feared. So they often use intimidation. That's the main one. Yes, they can do the other ones, but the main one that I see is that they use intimidation and they threaten. And these are also the kids, quite frankly, that often are involved in incest, in harming. I got hair somewhere. Where the heck? Blech, be gone. That are harming the other children sexually too, because it's a power and control issue. This is why I'm saying parents cannot turn their back on it. If you're a parent and you've got a child that is abusing your other children, you need to shut that shit down like yesterday, because incest, rape, etc. is a power and control issue. They do it to harm. They do it to control. They do it to manipulate. They do it to intimidate. They do it to get their way and get their narcissistic supply. Okay. All right. Being deprived of a narcissistic supply is like being hollowed out for them, mentally disemboweled, or watching oneself die. It is the cosmic evaporation, disintegration into molecules of terrified anguish, helplessness, and non-existence. So, in other words, the narcissist's false sense of self is based on how powerful they feel, right? So a healthy, normal person recognizes it's like, all I can do is control myself and that's it. I have no control over anyone else. And really it's all about, the greater good. It's like, I like helping people. This makes everybody feel good. This is good. This helps us all grow. A narcissist can't see that. And so for them, it's like they have to be one up. So they're the ones that always do the old joke about, I had to go to school in the snow, uphill, both ways, barefoot, So they one up. They one up, no matter what that one upping is, whether it's positive or whether it's negative. They have to have it worse. They have to have it better. They have to one up. That's their thing. For many narcissists, siblings are a vital component of narcissistic supply, often due to your position of vulnerability and powerlessness as a child. That's what I'm saying. The parents have got to step the fuck in and stop it. Okay. And you become the target of your brother or sister's desperate and insatiable search for psychological cohesion and consolidation of their disordered beliefs, such as your sibling may go to great lengths to assert their superiority over you, damage your self-worth, and fortify themselves. You may be subjected to verbal abuse, belittling, ridicule, humiliation, both public and private. Many describe their childhood as one of being a verbal punching bag for this sibling. The cruelty often knows no bounds and remains hidden to the parents as narcissistic children endeavors to maintain the appearance of perfection to authority figures. So I'm sorry, guys, if your kid comes to you and says, Bobby or Cindy or whoever, good Lord, I went to the Brady Bunch, but Bobby or Cindy or whoever is, saying this and doing that, fucking believe them. This is it. How many times do I have clients sit on my couch and go, oh my God, nobody listened. Oh my God, nobody believed me. In my own book, I talk about telling the teachers about my own father and they didn't hear me, right? So the biggest thing is believe your children. Believe them. It is very unlikely that they're going to make stuff up. And if they are making stuff up, then you have found yourself the narcissist. Does that make sense? Okay, so there is that. All right. So they try to be perfect. They put on, they're so manipulative. They're so good at being like, I'm an angel. And then as soon as the parent's back is turned, they're beating the crap out of the other kids. They may constantly demand your attention and admiration, react with outrage if you do not respond as they desire, instilling a deep belief that you are responsible for their emotional well-being. Hello, this is where we get now into codependency. So it's not the parent that's doing it. It's not a lover that's doing it. It's not a boss. It's not a friend. It is the sibling. So the sibling will do fear, you know where I'm going with this, obligation, and guilt in order to get their needs met. Any relationship that has fear, obligation, or guilt, otherwise known as the fog, is deeply unhealthy. Period. Now, this goes into adulthood. These fuckers don't stop. They just keep going, even into adulthood. I mean, this is dealing with, oh my God, this is what happened when I was a kid. Okay, recognizing your need to heal. The trauma of growing up with a sibling who has narcissistic personality disorder can be complex and multi-layered, involving a host of emotional and behavioral symptoms that interfere with your ability to function emotionally and have a fulfilling life. The stability needed to become healthy. Okay, so basically what they're saying is you need therapy. You need therapy. You need a good trauma therapist. You need a good trauma. Can I just say that again? You need a good trauma therapist. You do. Because these siblings are not going to stop. This is going to continue. Also, I forgot to say this. Susana Quintana understands all of this narcissism stuff. She is a life coach. She is able to go across state lines. So if you need somebody that's outside of Arizona, Susana Quintana is your girl. SusanaQuintana.com. She's your girl. That's who you want because she can do phone and she can do Skype. I am unfortunately limited to Arizona, so that sucks. But, you know, I have to only do Arizona residents. So, but she can go anywhere because she's a life coach. She's a narcissistic recovery specialist, and she has dealt with all forms of narcissism. So she's your girl. All right. Whew. Glad I got that. Okay, so healing from childhood trauma caused by a sibling is going to require intensive treatment with a trauma therapist, working all the books that I've talked about. Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor. CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker. Who's Pulling Your Strings? Also by Harriet Breaker. There's just, Shahida Arabi, Healing the Adult Children of Narcissists. Great book. Love it. I still need to get a hold of her. I haven't gotten a hold of her. Susana Quintana's got a book called You Are Still That Girl. There's there's other books, but there's a ton of really good books out there. So yeah, you've got to start working on this, and don't allow yourself to feel guilty because they're fucked up. They're fucked up and it's their problem to get healthy. It's not your job. Resign. The benefits suck and there's no vacation. Seriously, do a resignation letter. I'm not kidding you. Speaking of which, so I finally watched Rocket Man, okay? Great movie. Triggered the fuck out of me, gotta tell you. So when he's dealing with his parents in that opening scene, John literally had to reach over and touch my leg and be like, are you breathing? Because I was not breathing. Because when the father and the mother were doing their fucking fucked up dance, I was just like, it just killed me. And then at the very end of the movie, it was beautiful because he confronted the abusers, which was great because he was in rehab and all of that. It was a very trippy movie. I got to tell you, some of it I was just like, y'all did drugs when you made this, didn't you? But I mean, it was a really good movie because the end of it, it's like he confronts the abusers and he does the inner child work. And I was in tears. I was just in tears. But every single time his abusers came on screen, any of the abusers came on screen, I was just like, I couldn't breathe. I literally couldn't, because it's like I wanted to just jump into that scene when that guy hit him in the face. And I was like, motherfucker, I'll take you out. Anyway, oh God. Anyway, I hate abusers. Can I tell you that? Can I just tell you how much I hate abusers? I fucking hate abusers. Anyway, great movie, Rocket Man. Be prepared. It is triggering, but it is great because it deals with his abusive family and it deals with him going into rehab and doing the work and confronting the abusers, writing letters, whatever. I don't know if he actually wrote a letter, but he vocalized it and it was beautiful and I loved it. And then it's like his little inner child at the end and I was just a mess. It was great. Anyway, so sorry, squirrel. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so narcissistic traits. All right, so if your brother or sister is a narcissist, it may be a difficult but necessary step in trying to put the pieces of your life history together. You probably have seen the good and the bad behaviors from your siblings. So that's just it. Again, abusers don't always abuse. Sometimes they're nice, or sometimes they'll play with you, or sometimes they're, whatever. Yeah, I love Elton John too. So, I was surprised they didn't do the Someone Saved My Life Tonight song. I really was, but it was a great movie. Anyway, sorry, squirrel, too much coffee. Okay. If you feel guilty for even looking up what narcissistic personality disorder, it means that you have seen the behaviors and they trouble you. So again, it's like, it's okay to call it what it is. A narcissist is a narcissist. A psychopath is a psychopath. You don't have anything to feel guilty about. No shame, no guilt. Get rid of that shit. Put it back on the person it belongs to, which is your abuser. Okay. Sometimes the label helps explain things that you didn't recognize. So it's really important, guys. This is why I left my DSM-5 out at the table. Oh, well, it's okay. So it's really important that if you are curious about these personality disorders, go look them up. You can go online. You can go to the Mayo Clinic. You just type in Mayo Clinic NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, or Mayo Clinic BPD, borderline personality disorder, and it will give you all of the signs and the symptoms. And sometimes, that's incredibly freeing to be able to go, oh my God, this is it. This is what I've seen. This is the behavior. Holy shit, it isn't just me, which is why I get so angry when people are like, we need to get rid of labels. Yeah, go fuck yourself. So do you see where I'm going with that? So, okay. All right. There's much empowerment in understanding what, as much as you can about narcissism. The biggest benefit is that with this knowledge, you can begin to make the decisions to protect yourself and begin to heal. Okay. All right. And so he's talking about how he opened up his own Pandora's box and the recovery that he went through. And, the fact that because of the narcissistic relationship with the sibling, that he ended up getting involved with another sibling romantically. So it's not just, it's a generational thing. It's not just a generational thing. You can end up getting involved with a narcissist because you're trying to work through this original wound, which may be your sibling, may not be mom and dad, maybe the sibling. So this shit has got to get handled, because what you do not want to have happen is you go, oh, look, real issue with mother, brother, father, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle, grandparents, whatever. And then you look outside and go, oh, look, subconsciously, there's somebody that kind of sort of reminds me of them. I know if I can make them love me, I prove these assholes wrong. Half of a shit sandwich, half of a shit sandwich, total shit sandwich. Okay. All right. So, read that. So here are some of the signs and symptoms. They have an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. They lack empathy in a clear way. They cannot conceive of the harm they have caused you. Like, it doesn't even fucking register. Like, what the actual fuck? Do you see where I'm going with that? Like, my dad would do that. He would say the literally most horrible things and then not understand how come everybody was pissed off at him. Oh, yes, smoking the ganja? Well, in actuality, he probably was. Read the book. I have a section on that. He tried to grow his own heroin. Oh, yeah, we'll talk. Anyway, okay, so there's that. Are they a pathological liar? Do they exaggerate their own achievements and talents? Narcissistic lies start off gradually at first and then snowball into crazy off-the-chart stories. Over time, the stories become harder and harder to believe as you start to see through the lies. Things don't make sense. Things don't add up. When you press for more details, fact-checking, they will get very angry at you for trying to fact-check them. Okay. Were they always looking for you or your parents to tell them how great they were? Need for excessive admiration. Are they extremely envious of you? Think that they should have what you have? Constantly put you down. Constantly put down the very things that make you you. Constantly put down the very things that are endearing about you. Things to watch for. They are often fake in their compliments. Their compliments will often be backhanded. So it's like damning with faint praise. So they'll say something nasty. They'll say something about your weight, but, oh, well, you're looking so much, but you've lost so much weight when you didn't need to lose weight. So then that makes you go, was I fat? What's going on? So backhanded compliments, that kind of thing. They consider the other siblings rivals, for any attention. They lack empathy. They cannot place themselves in other people's shoes. They feel entitled to get attention. They feel like it's their due, it's their right. They take advantage of others, and they're very cunning and very charming. They can be. Like all narcissists, they use masks to play various roles depending on who they are with. Absolutely. Damn it, we're running out of time. Okay, hang on. They sabotage your whole life. They try to tell you who you are to keep you down. That's their whole thing. They triangulate. They have to have the drama triangle, the villain, the victim, and the hero. They triangulate. They spin stories. They tell half-truths to alienate you from other siblings or parents. Triangulation is the art of pitting people against each other using lies and manipulation. So that's why as soon as someone says, well, so-and-so, sister so-and-so said such and such about you. Well, great. Let's get them on the phone. Watch how fast they backpedal. I've done that. Yep, it works. So there's that. All right. So they pit the other siblings against each other. So they too do the divide and conquer. They try to get the siblings to take sides. They try to get the parents to take sides. Okay. They behave as if they are more important than anyone. They feel entitled to everything. Okay, so here's your clue. And this goes for any narcissist, okay? How do you feel when you're around them? Are you on eggshells? Are you feeling icky? Okay, it's 12:30. I know we're going to take questions in just a second, but I just got to blast through this because this is just really important. How do you feel around them? How do you feel around anybody? See, this is really, really, really important. When you leave someone's presence, you should be jacked up and energized. You should be thrilled. You should be like, that was great. Let's do it again sometime. Awesome. You should be feeling good about yourself. When you leave the presence of a narcissist or an abuser of any kind, it is literally like you have been sucked into a black hole, twisted into a pretzel, shat upon, and you leave going, what the fuck just happened? Oh my God. It's like Colin Robinson from What We Do in the Shadows, Energy Vampire. He's so funny. Anyway, okay, it's literally like that. It's like you feel drained. You feel bad about yourself. You've got weird thoughts. You're not feeling good. Is it difficult to talk to them? They are very difficult to talk to because what they want is to hear themselves, number one. And number two, they want to gather information to use against you. So they very rarely talk about anything in depth. Serious, how are you doing? Tell me about your life. They never ask that. They never go, how are you doing? What's new with you? What's exciting? That is the first question out of my mouth when I talk to any of my siblings. What's new? What's exciting? What's happening? What's going on? How are the puppies? Things like that. I'm curious. I want to know how they're doing. Okay. But a narcissist could give two flying rats asses. They don't fucking care. And they never ask because they don't want to hear it. If you start telling them how you're doing, guess what? They'll cut you off. They'll change the subject and it'll be about them again. Okay. Are you always feeling like you're the loser? You're always losing the arguments. You're never allowed to win. You're never allowed to have your opinion. You're never allowed to have an opinion that's different from them. Is your sibling unable to accept accountability for what they've done? That's huge. They make you keep secrets that are not yours. Oh my God, that's a huge one. Tell you to do their homework, but not to tell anybody. That's one I've seen over again. And then they use it to, against you kind of thing. Are you dealing with sibling rivalry? No, sibling rivalry only lasts for a short amount of time, and healthy parents nip it in the bud. They also make us feel crazy. They do not honor boundaries, okay? If you put up a boundary with a sibling, whether it's when you're little or when you're older, they will mow right the fuck over it. Have they betrayed your confidence? Never tell a narcissist that you think they're a narcissist. Why? Number one, they don't care. Number two, they don't understand it's a bad thing. I've actually seen them go, well, that's a good thing. That means I love myself. No, motherfucker, it doesn't. So what it is that you never tell them that they're a narcissist. And we do this in the hopes that they will, have a fucking V8. Oh my God, I should have had a V8. And go, oh my God, that's terrible. I shouldn't be a narcissist. I need to work on that. They're never going to do it. They are never going to do it. They truly do not care. Trust your gut. Set boundaries. Often going no contact is your only solution. 5 tips on coping with narcissistic family members. Now, this is by Bill Eddy, and this was on Psychology Today. He's one of the ones that wrote, he and Randy Krieger are the ones that wrote Splitting. So in the middle of a divorce, read Splitting by Randy Krieger and Bill Eddy. Awesome book. Okay, so don't tell them they're a narcissist. Again, don't argue with them. You're never going to win. Don't focus on choices. Oh, do focus on choices, theirs and yours. So it's a choice. People choose how to behave, okay? And when somebody has a set pattern, once is a fluke, twice is a coincidence, 3 or more times, Houston, we got a pattern. Listen to patterns. Patterns do not lie. Okay, do set limits on what you will do for them because they're assholes. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. Oh, I can't do that. Can you just do this for me? I'm a victim. Oh my fucking God. So yeah, set limits on what you will do for them. They are manipulative. They are exploitive, and no, and they'll suck you dry financially too. Absolutely not. Do get support and consultation. Get with a good trauma therapist. You're going to have to let them go with love. You did not break them. You sure as fuck cannot fix them. So, whew, there it is on siblings that are abusive. And when you're older, you are under no obligation to be around them. And if you choose not to talk to them, which I think is the smart course, you don't owe them an explanation as to why you're not talking to them. Because even if you explained it to them, you will spend the next 3,000 years trying to get them to see it because they'll never see it. They don't understand they're part of it. So just go no contact, stay no contact, go live your life, be happy. The best revenge is to live well. And then, yes, there are going to be flying monkeys that are going to be like, but it's your family. So here's my big thing. If you were not related to these fuckers, would you have anything to do with them? If the answer is no, act accordingly. Boom. Shakalaka, done. Alrighty then, let me take some questions. Okay. So, since my mom died, my only sibling, a sister, plans activities with dad and leaves me out. Also tries to get my dad to sell his property to her for below market value. How to cope? Well, all you can do is tell dad what you see. And, you can't control the sister. You could encourage the dad to be careful. If you think the dad is mentally not able, you could, it depends on how old this dad is and what his mental stability is, but you could get a lawyer involved if that happens. So you can't control them, guys. You cannot make them see. And sometimes you can't make the parents see either. So you just put it out there and then you walk the fuck away because it's not your job. If the dad is stupid enough to let her abuse him, that's on him at this point, especially after you've, told him kind of thing. All right, question. My siblings seem to demonstrate only empathy. Wait. My siblings seems to demonstrate empathy to each other, but not to me. It creates this constant feeling of rejection and feeling unwanted. Any tips on how I can heal and encourage myself? So in dysfunctional families, there is the golden child. There is the scapegoat. And so when siblings band together and pick on a scapegoat, that's dysfunctional. So the best way to do is work on your self-esteem with the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi, or You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Get with a good trauma therapist and start letting these people go. They may be blood, but they're not your family. Let me just say that again. They may be blood, but they're not your family. You need to find your tribe. You need to find the people who lift you up and make you feel good. Not ones who drag you down. Not ones who make you feel less than. That is not your tribe. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. And you start working on you and you start recognizing your own self-worth. There you go. Okay. My brother-in-law mirrors my husband in creepy ways, proposed and honeymooned his wife the exact same way my husband did to me, buys cars the next day after we do, etc. Why do narcissistic siblings mirror? Well, okay, here's the creepy thing. And there was an article I posted on Facebook about this. Sometimes narcissists, because we have what they want, they try to become us, and they think somehow that if they can become us, they will have all of the emotional richness of our lives. So they'll start acting like you. They'll start dressing like you. They'll start buying the same cars. They'll start doing this, doing that. You know, you cut your hair into bangs, they cut their hair into bangs. You dye your hair, they dye their hair. It's crazy. It's creepy. It's single white female, very much so. But that is what narcissists do. Why? Because they don't have an identity. And so they see us and we're happy and we're healthy and we're whole and we've got a good life and we're, you know, bebopping around doing our own thing. And they think that if they can become us, like literally like soul stealing, they're like, well, I'll just become them. It's like, no, you're still a miserable piece of shit. Okay, there we go. It's never going to happen. You might dress like me, but you don't have the soul. So do you see where I'm going with that? So yeah, they do that. It's creepy. They're trying to become you. It's also a form of intimidation. You know, it's not flattery. You know, imitation is flattery up to a certain point, and then it just gets fucking weird. Do you see where I'm going with that? So doing all of that, that's really fucking weird. So that's what narcissists do. And I I posted an article on Facebook on my We Need to Talk page. So go look that up. It's on there. But they do that. They do that. I had a stalker that did that. It was creepy and crazy and weird, and I ended up having to get an order of protection against them. So yeah. Okay. My younger sister tormented me my whole life. How do I distinguish the abuse that was maybe triangulation versus her being a born psychopath? Patterns. And once somebody is an adult and the abuse is brought to their attention, a healthy person who has picked up fleas, and that was another question I got, was how do you discern what is a flea and what is really abuse? Well, when a flea is brought to somebody's attention, that person generally goes, oh shit, fuck, let me go work on this. And then they work on it and they get better, okay? They make amends. You make amends. For somebody who is a born psychopath, they don't care to make amends. They don't care to get better. They don't care. And it's patterns. How do they respond when you bring up stuff? So here's the thing. The best apology is changed behavior, period. The best apology is changed behavior. You know, they can say, psychopaths can say the most beautiful words and not mean a single one. So, you know, look at people like, you know, Ted Bundy or Charles Manson or, you know, any of the serial killers. They were able to say pretty words and not mean a damn thing. Okay. So the best apology is changed behavior. So you bring up once the behavior that needs to be fixed. And if they're poo-pooing it or no, it's you, or flip the script or whatever, then yeah, be done. Okay. When there are multiple siblings, how does the abusive sibling know who to target the most? Why won't the other siblings do anything even when they complain about the behavior later? Because they're scared. So again, inner child stuff. When a child is confronted with an abuser, what do kids do? We tend to do the magic thinking, which is if I can't see the monster can't see me, which is magic thinking. So scapegoating. It's very common in dysfunctional families is one child will be the scapegoat and all the other siblings jump on board. So and another thing is they could be flying monkeys. You know, it's like, is there a way to fix the narc? Nope, absolutely not. Okay, wait, I just missed that question. Hold on. So that was a separate question. Sorry, I jumped ahead. Hold on. So why won't the other siblings do anything about it, even though they complain about the behavior later? Because for one thing, they're afraid. They're afraid that they're going to be targeted. So remember, it's like, when a scapegoat stands up and goes, bitch, no more, we're done. Y'all need to find somebody else. Well, then now the abuser has to find somebody else to pick on. And all of the other kids are like, it's a game of not me, not it. You know, they don't want to be the next target. So that's why. And also abusers don't change. They don't get better. Even if they confronted them, it wouldn't do any good. The only way to deal with an abuser effectively is to be no contact. So there's that. Is it possible the scapegoat can mistakenly believe they are the golden child because the parents appear sympathetic after the siblings abuse them? Is it a way to get a narc fix? It can be. It can be. Oh, I read that wrong. I thought that said, is there a way to fix the narc? Nope, there's no way to fix the narc. But can it be a narc fix? Yeah, it can be. So it's, again, that intermittent positive reward. Something horrible happens. Oh, let me comfort you. Something horrible happens again. Oh, let me comfort you. It's a sick, parasitic cycle. So a healthy parent would not allow another child to harm another child. Does that make sense? So yeah, it's a sick, intermittent positive reward thing. Absolutely. Okay. My whole family is toxic and abusive. I know why I've spent years working on myself and why they haven't. When everyone around you is toxic, would that teach me to be the only empath somehow? So here's the thing. Empathy is generally born in us. It's natural. It's what most people have. When we are able to take a look out and go, ooh, this is dysfunctional. This is dysfunctional. I want to work on myself, and then they don't. Yeah, if your other family members are not working on themselves, they're going to be toxic and you're going to be the healthy one. So yeah, count yourself lucky. I think that's good. Okay. Why do I still want or miss being around my siblings, even though I know it's toxic and unhealthy for me? Well, think about it. When we are born into a family and there's brothers and sisters, they are our first playmates, just like our mom and dad are our first loves. They are our first playmates. And there is always that desire, that hope that they will be healthy, normal, that they'll, wake up, that they'll be, willing to be a human being, that kind of thing. So it's the same reason why we keep missing our abuser. It's that intermittent positive rewards, and we got to work on our self-esteem. And if they are abusive and toxic, you do not be around them. There is no reason to. You are worthy of being in a healthy relationship, no matter what that relationship is. And again, blood is not always family. Go find your true siblings. Go find your, I hate to keep bringing this back to Rocket Man. Actually, I don't. It was a really good movie. But in Rocket Man, it was like Bernie was his brother, basically. The brother he never had that he always wished he did. Go find a Bernie. Go find somebody else to be a substitute sibling. Because if they're unable to work on themselves and they're unhealthy and they're toxic, they are never going to be anything other than that. And you deserve somebody who's healthy. Question, how do you stop the sibling rivalry in young ones that was created by the other parent who is disordered? Ooh, okay, hang on. Okay, if the other parent is disordered and they are still in their lives, that is going to be very difficult, but not impossible. So remember, when you're divorcing somebody who is disordered and there are children, they will do the divide and conquer. They will pick a scapegoat and they will pick a golden child. That's usually what ends up happening. So all you can do is undo it as they are with you. Make sure the kids are in therapy. Make sure they are in play therapy of some sort so that they've got a safe outlet, and that issues that come up between the two of them can be worked through in therapy in a healthy way. The disordered parent is not going to want that. That's why I'm saying it's super important. Read Splitting by Randy Krieger and Bill Eddy, because you're going to need to know how this abuser is going to react in the middle of a divorce. And one of the key things they do is they try to keep the children from getting therapy. Why? Because they don't want their dirty secrets known. Their worst fear is that everybody's going to look at them and know exactly what a piece of shit they are. And when a child is in therapy, they've got a safe outlet and they can vocalize. And guess what? Everyone's going to know what a piece of shit they are. So it's really important that you get your kids into therapy. Okay. And you nip it in the bud when they're with you, and you let them know, this may be allowed over at your father's house. I do not approve. I do not approve that this is allowed over at your father's house. You do not act that way. You are better than that. See where I'm going with that? And you just work with the kids. That's the only thing you can do. And get them into therapy. Okay. Hi, Chris. I've rescued my depression-prone narc brother since childhood. I wish to go no contact, but I'm always afraid he'll commit suicide. How do I rid myself of this irrational fear? It is not an irrational fear, number one. It is a very real fear. So here's the thing. Do narcissists commit suicide? Yes, but very rarely. Why? Because they cannot imagine a universe without them. Seriously. Oftentimes, suicide is used as a manipulation and a control. Again, I will tell you this from experience. The ones who really do truly go on to commit suicide don't say a fucking word. They don't say a fucking word about it. They don't ever go, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. They just don't. They just fucking do it. You know, and sometimes even therapists are left going, what the fuck just happened? So you've got to be, you know, aware that the ones who are truly going to do it usually don't talk about it. The ones who are really not going to do it, but want to use it as a control and manipulation are the ones who make you afraid that they're going to do it. So it's a control thing. So it's not your job to rescue him. It's not your job. So The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker, read it. Codependent No More by Melanie Beattie. PM Melody also did some books on codependency. Beyond Codependent No More, also by Melanie Beattie. So it's not your job. It's not your job. If he kills himself, that is his choice. That is his choice. You know, it's not your job to keep him afloat. It's not. He needs to rescue himself. He needs to understand that he needs to rescue himself. But it sounds to me like a little bit of covert narcissism, because overt ones usually don't do that. So the covert ones are the ones that play the victim all the time. Assholes. Help me, 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 help me. But then they never do anything to help themselves. God helps them who helps themselves. So fucking true. So, you know, you give them all the information you can, and then you go, you're on your own. Good luck. God bless. Leave you with love. Bye-bye. You know, and you let them deal with it, because it's just like, how do I explain this? They're never going to stop. You're enabling them. You got to stop. This is now an addiction. You got to stop. You got to stop. You got to stop enabling them. You got to. Are you going to have the fear? So the fear pops up. Oh my God, what if they kill themselves? What if? Okay. What if they kill themselves? That's on them. Thanks for playing. Bye-bye. Thought stopping. Thought stopping. Read those books on codependency. Okay. How are we doing on time? Okay, we're good. All right. My brother is the golden child with narcissistic traits and was recently disabled by my narcissistic mother's actions. He wants to be with me and my kids, but he's very toxic around them. How do I help him? From a distance. From a distance. You do not have him in your house. It is so much easier to keep people out than it is to kick them out. So you can refer him to all sorts of social services. You can give him the number for free counseling. So at least here in Arizona, University of Phoenix has a practicum program, and they need people to practice on. So that's 6 weeks of free counseling. So you can do that. You can call other universities and see if they have a practicum program as well. You can call Catholic Charities. They do a sliding scale. Jewish Family Home Services also does a sliding scale. It's not your job to have him live with you. Sorry, it's not your job. There's housing. Get on a housing list. You know, get on a housing list. It's not your job. Don't let him into the house. If he's toxic, nope. Sorry, no room at the inn. Sorry. So there it is. Okay. Because you also don't want that around your kids. You don't want that around your kids. That's, if he's toxic, he's going to rub off on them. So no, absolutely not. I have trouble relating to children, and I feel uncomfortable around them. I'm wondering if this is tied to the abuse I suffered at the hands of my parents and siblings. It can be. Yeah, absolutely. Some people are terrified of having their own children because of the abuse they went through from their parents, which really sucks. Hang on. And or because of the abuse they suffered at the hands of a sibling. So my suggestion would be get with a good trauma therapist. Get EFT, EMDR, DBT, CBT. Good trauma therapist. Get with a good trauma therapist and start working on that original wound. And let's see if we can work on that uncomfortable feeling so that you feel comfortable again. Because one of the greatest joys in life, I love kids. I love hanging around them. They make me laugh. It's great. I love playing with them. I love their inner life. Like my niece Peyton the other day. So funny. She told her mom, she's like, Mom, I want FaceTime with Aunt Chris. like point blank. And so I got on FaceTime, and what did we do? We played Legos, even though they're up in Oregon and I'm here in Arizona. And so, it was like, ooh, show me what you're working on. Okay, well, why don't you use that piece? And da da da. So it was like I was able to play with her, even though it was, through FaceTime. So one of the greatest joys is hanging around kids. Why? Because it allows you to be a child as well. However, if you've had an abusive childhood, that might trigger you. So you want to get that fixed so that you can have the joie de vivre that a child has, right? Without the triggers. So yeah, absolutely. Get with a good therapist, work on that. You are not wrong. Good observation. Okay, what are some good ways to make amends long distance? You write a letter, ask them what they need. So if you're making amends, okay, in AA, when you make an amend, you make sure that it's not going to harm the other person. So, you make sure that it's not going to create problems in the marriage or, whatever. And some ways to make amends without actually talking to the person is you write and burn letters. Okay. The other way to do it is you simply let the person know long distance. It's like, okay, I'm making amends for my behavior. I know, and you own it basically. So let's talk about what making an amend is, because I think people are confused about that. So making an amend is not just going, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. So again, changed behavior is the best apology. So what you do is you own your actions. Own your actions. Name it. How did you harm this person? Specifically, how did you harm this person? How did you hurt them? Okay. What was the consequence of your actions? Okay. It's really about, look, I know, like to the core, that I harmed you, and here's how I harmed you. And I am mortified. What can I do to fix this? What can I do to repair this relationship? Now, when you do an amend, you've got to be aware that 9 times out of 10, that person that you harmed may just go, fuck you, or no response, or whatever. You've done your part. You've made the effort. You've reached out. You've told them that you would like to make amends, that you would like to fix the relationship. And if they respond with either fuck you or no response, okay. And you're going to have to let that one go. So, but it's really important that you own everything you did. You literally, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. I hurt you this way. I know this harmed you. I'm taking ownership for it. I'm not putting anything back on you. I'm not flipping the script. I'm not playing my parents' game. I'm not, whatever. And then ask them, what can I do to mend the fence? What can I do to fix this? How can we have a relationship again? And sometimes you're just not going to. Sometimes that other person is just like, and they're done. And in that case, you just have to go on with your life. But good on you for taking ownership. Good on you for taking responsibility and not flipping the script. So yeah, and you got to know that that's a possibility, and that's why that move in AA screws up so many people, because they're terrified. They're terrified of, well, what if this person tells me to go fuck myself? Okay, so they tell you to go fuck yourself. You did the right thing by owning your own shit, letting them know you're owning your own shit, and asking them how you can make it better and repair that relationship. Your job is now done. So there that is. And also, once an amend has been made, narcissistic abusers will just continue to use that. Well, you did this. Well, you did this. Well, you did this. Well, you did this. Okay, wait a minute. We made amends. We worked on this. I owned it. You're not letting it go. Okay, we're done. Bye-bye. Does that make sense? So, but it needs to be worked through. So anyway, I hope that answers the question. Okay, what kind of dynamic occurs when there is a narcissistic child with a borderline mother and codependent father? Oh, hell on earth? Yeah, it's no bueno. The child will just run roughshod, more than likely. Oh, yeah. The child will run roughshod because they're the narcissist. You've got a borderline and you've got a codependent. The child will run the show. The child will run the show, and it will be a disaster of epic and biblical proportions, pretty much. Okay, I think, where are we with questions? What time is it? Where am I? What's the meaning of life? Hang on. Okay. Oh, we're close to 1 o'clock. Okay. I am going to call it good for today. I hope that answered everybody's questions. Yes, I am very passionate about this. In summary, it's like, you either have parents who are disordered that are encouraging the division and encouraging the fighting, or you've got a sibling that is absolutely born without empathy and they're just an abuser. Either way, it's like you get away from them. You do not put up with it. So this leads me to next week's topic. I would like to go in depth about deal breakers because I think people are unclear what a deal breaker is. And I think we're unclear on that because we have not had parents or caregivers or models for what good boundaries are. So I want to talk more about what deal breakers are. So I want to go into that. And this is going to apply to your siblings. This is going to apply to your boss. This is going to apply to a romantic partner. This is going to apply to family. This is going to apply to everybody. So I want you guys to start thinking about boundaries. I want you to start thinking about deal breakers. What should you never put up with in a relationship? And we're going to go into depth on that next week. Okay, kids, go be awesome. Have a wonderful Sunday. Take care of yourselves. Like I said, Arizona is spiking in the numbers. So I'm not touring. So I'm sorry. Hopefully next year. That would be nice. So have a great week, and we'll talk more about deal breakers. All right. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And I will talk to you later. Bye.